Only 16%, that's 1 in 6 Americans, believe artificial intelligence will ultimately help society. A brand new study just dropped this bombshell, and it's forcing tech companies to confront a hard truth. The public is deeply, viscerally afraid of what's coming. You've probably heard CEOs talk about how AI is going to revolutionize everything, cure diseases, solve climate change, make us all richer. But according to this research, most of America just doesn't believe it. In fact, more than half of Americans say they're actively worried about how AI will reshape their jobs, their privacy, and their lives. Think of it like this. Imagine you're launching a new medicine that doctors swear will save millions of lives, but 84% of patients refuse to take it because they think it'll kill them. That's the credibility crisis the AI industry faces right now. The gap between what technologists promise and what ordinary people actually believe is wider than it's been in years, and it's growing. This isn't just a PR problem for companies like OpenAI or Google or Nvidia. It's an existential question for AI itself. Can an industry that nobody trusts actually succeed? And here's where the real story starts. So how did we get here? 6 months ago, most people still thought AI was some distant sci-fi thing that wouldn't really affect their lives. But then ChatGPT started replacing writers. Then AI tools started generating artwork that made professional artists question their livelihoods. Then companies started announcing they'd be using AI to review resumes, make hiring decisions, even diagnose medical conditions without human oversight. Each time a new capability went public, the trust went down a little more. By spring this year, job anxiety hit fever pitch. When companies like Google announced they were replacing entire teams of human engineers with AI, people started to realize this isn't coming in 20 years. This is happening now, and they're not ready for it. The study surveyed over 2,000 Americans across all demographics, all income levels, all regions. What it found was consistent dread. Even educated tech-savvy people, folks who actually understand AI, are deeply skeptical about whether it'll ultimately help or hurt. Working people are terrified about their jobs. Parents are worried about their kids growing up with AI making all their decisions. And it's not just paranoia, there's a real feedback loop happening. The more AI companies deploy new systems, the more visible the problems become. And the more problems people see, the less they trust the companies saying everything will be fine. That's the background context that makes this 16% statistic even more striking. Let's dig into what the study actually found. The researchers asked Americans a simple question: do you think artificial intelligence will have a positive or negative impact on society? Only 16% said positive. That's it. Not maybe, not we'll see. They were confident, convinced that AI will hurt more than help. 34% said negative. And the rest? They are in the middle, uncertain, anxious, waiting to see what happens. Here's the really important bit though. When researchers dug into the reasons why, the picture got even more troubling. 52% say they are worried about AI replacing their jobs. 47% worry about privacy, that AI companies are collecting and using their data without real consent. 40% are afraid of misuse, like authoritarian governments using AI to spy on people or manipulate elections. And get this, 71% say they think AI companies should face stronger regulation. They don't want AI banned. They want guardrails. They want accountability. They want to know that someone's actually checking whether these systems are being used responsibly. The study also looked at generational differences. Younger people, folks under 35, are actually slightly more optimistic than older generations. But we are talking going from 14% to 18%, still catastrophically low across the board. But here's what really matters. So what's actually driving this fear? Let's look at real examples from the last few months. A radiologist in Seattle posted how her hospital rolled out an AI system to pre-screen mammograms without consulting her. She wasn't trained on the system or told its error rate. She just started seeing AI-flagged reports she didn't understand. That's happening to thousands of workers right now. A university student described her AI proctoring exam system. It watches me during tests and flags me for looking away. I can't even stretch my neck without it getting suspicious. Parents across the country are discovering schools use AI to flag concerning behavior based on typing patterns or word choice in essays. Some kids got detention for things they never did. Based on algorithmic analysis, they can't even see or challenge. And here's the thing, these aren't anti-tech people. They just want consent, understanding, and human judgment on critical decisions. They want to know if they can opt out. They want algorithms trained on data they didn't agree to share kept away from their lives. When you multiply these small, personal betrayals across work, school, and hospitals, you understand why America doesn't trust AI. And that's just the beginning. Here's the contradiction that's become painfully obvious. Tech executives are operating in a completely different reality than the public they are building for. On one side of the divide, you've got CEOs and researchers saying AI will extend human lifespans, eliminate disease, solve poverty, unlock scientific discoveries we can't even imagine. On the other side, you've got 84% of ordinary Americans saying, actually, I'm skeptical of all that. This isn't about ignorance either. People aren't rejecting AI because they don't understand it. Most people understand perfectly well that AI can do remarkable things. What they are rejecting is the power structure around it, the lack of transparency, the lack of consent, the lack of safeguards. NVIDIA's founder published an op-ed saying AI is the most important technology of our time and will revolutionize everything. Fair point, it probably will. But he's also a billionaire whose company profits directly from AI deployment. Meanwhile, the radiologist in that hospital has no say in whether she uses AI or not. She just has to deal with it. There's a fundamental trust gap. The tech world built this stuff without asking for permission, deployed it without explaining how it works, profited enormously, and then acted surprised when regular people said, actually, we didn't consent to this experiment. Now they're trying to fix the trust problem with more AI, better AI, safer AI, more transparent AI. But the public's heard those promises before. And here's the twist nobody expected. So what does this mean going forward? If 84% of Americans don't trust AI, that's a civilizational problem. Imagine you invent medicine doctors say will cure cancer and heart disease, but nobody takes it because they don't trust you. Your medicine can't help anyone, no matter how good it is. That's where we are. This sentiment is already forcing regulators' hands. The European Union passed the AI Act. Multiple countries are drafting rules. Congress is actually paying attention, something that almost never happens. Legislators are being pressured to create AI safeguards because their constituents are terrified. The tech industry thought they could move fast and break things, then deal with consequences later. But this survey proves that strategy has an expiration date. Public trust is like a battery. Once drained enough, you can't plug it in for an hour and expect it to work. Some trust might be recoverable, but only if the industry fundamentally changes how it operates. That means transparency. That means giving people genuine choices about whether AI touches their lives. That means holding companies accountable when things fail. That means hiring ethicists and actually listening instead of ignoring warnings. The question isn't whether AI becomes mainstream anymore. It's what restrictions will look like and whether the industry adapts or gets forced to. Here's what matters for you. First, you're not paranoid for being skeptical. The data backs you up. Your concerns are legitimate. Second, you have agency here. You don't have to accept every AI system that gets pushed into your life. If your school, your workplace, or your doctor wants to use AI to make decisions about you, you have the right to ask questions. You have the right to ask for human review. You have the right to say no. Third, regulation is coming whether the tech industry likes it or not. So support it. Contact your representatives. Tell them you want AI oversight. Tell them you want companies held accountable. Tell them you want opt-in systems, not opt-out, because opt-out never works in practice. Fourth, look at how companies respond to this moment. Are they getting defensive and dismissive of public concerns, or are they actually listening and changing their practices? Watch that closely. The companies that treat your skepticism as legitimate feedback are the ones you might actually trust. The ones that double down and say, trust us, we know better, they are showing you who they are. And fifth, stay informed. Don't let this become background noise. AI is changing how society works, and ordinary people deserve a seat at that table. Keep questioning, keep pushing back. And this is what nobody predicted. Here's what becomes possible now. This study might be the wake-up call the AI industry actually needed. For the first time, they can't pretend the public is just uninformed or afraid of progress. The data is clear. People understand AI can do amazing things. They're not rejecting the technology. They're rejecting the power imbalance. They're rejecting the lack of consent. They're rejecting being treated like lab rats for multi-billion-dollar companies. And that's actually reasonable. What happens next depends on whether the industry takes this seriously. If they do, if they genuinely change how they deploy AI, if they build in real safeguards and real transparency and real consent, then maybe that 16% can grow. Maybe trust can be rebuilt. Maybe society benefits from AI without the dystopian cost. But if the industry ignores this signal and keeps deploying systems without consent and without accountability, then we're heading toward a future where AI capability keeps advancing, but public trust keeps dropping. And that's a world where the most powerful technology humans have ever created gets built by a small group of people and imposed on everyone else without agreement. That's not how a functioning society works. The surprising thing, this isn't a failure of technology. It's a failure of trust and respect. And that's actually something fixable if anyone's willing to try. That's what's happening behind the headlines right now. Follow for daily AI news.